So today we're looking at the Locrian mode, and the simplest way for me to explain it to you guys is to take a major scale and then change it in a few ways to make it the Locrian mode. So I'm relating everything back to a major scale. So if you don't know how to work out major scales, watch this other video, learn the order of tones and semitones and the scale degree numbers, and then we'll work ahead. Okay, so now we've got a C major scale. They're all the notes in the C major scale, and there's the degree numbers, okay? Now, we're looking at changing a C major scale into a C Locrian mode, okay? But if you wanted like a D Locrian mode, you'd first write up the D major scale, and again, have a look at that video that I've already done if you don't know how to work out a major scale. So if you wanted a D Locrian mode, you'd write the D major scale, and then just change the same degree numbers, change them, in order to make it the D Locrian mode, okay? So, starting off with the C major scale, the first degree, because it's C, and it's the C Locrian mode, that stays the same. The second note gets flattened, so that goes down a semitone, or down a fret on a guitar, or down a key on a piano. So D goes down to D flat, okay? The third degree, E, that gets flattened as well. So again, down a fret or down a key on a piano, so E becomes E flat. The fourth degree stays exactly the same. So the fourth degree in C major, which is F, is actually the same fourth degree in the C Locrian mode. F stays the same. G gets flattened. So G would go down a fret on a guitar or down a key to G flat. The sixth degree gets flattened again. So A would go down a fret or down a key or down a semitone to A flat. And then the seventh degree is flattened as well. So B would go down a fret or down a key or down a semitone to B flat. And then C is exactly the same as the root. And that's how you change a C major scale into a C Locrian mode, okay? And now if you wanted an A Locrian mode, again, you'd write out an A major scale, and then you'd flatten the second, flatten the third, flatten the fifth, flatten the sixth, and flatten the seventh. And that's how you would change a major scale into a Locrian mode. And now I'll show you how to play it on a guitar. So hopefully that explains the theory behind the Locrian mode, the last mode, the seventh mode. So well done if you've made it this far going through all the modal videos with me. And so just like all the others, I'm going to show you how to play it, then I'm going to zoom in and show you how to play it again with all the different fingerings. There's tab in the description below, but this is the last modal video that I'll do for a little while, and we're just going to move into more interesting things like how you construct chords, and sort of rather than memorizing a million different chord shapes, I'll actually give you the theory knowledge about how to construct them all yourself, so you'll never have to memorize all those different patterns. It's really helpful stuff. But right now I'm going to show you how to play the seventh mode, the Locrian mode. Here we go. Right, so here we go. So remember, we're doing a C Locrian mode, so we're going to start off in a C. Finger on the 8th fret of the low E string, then second finger on the 9th fret right next to it on the low E string, pinky on the 11th fret of the low E string, drop down a string, first finger on the 8th fret of the A string, second finger on the 9th fret of the A string, pinky on the 11th fret of the A string, drop down a string, first finger on the 8th fret of the D string, and third finger on the 10th fret of the D string. That's the first octave. Now I'm going to show you the second octave of the C Locrian mode, and we're going to start off with our last note of the first octave, okay? So that's the third finger on the 10th fret of the D string. And then pinky right next to it on the 11th fret of the D string. Drop down a string, first finger on the 8th fret of the G string, third finger on the 10th fret of the G string, pinky on the 11th fret of the G string, drop down a string, second finger on the 9th fret of the B string, pinky on the 11th fret of the B string, and then first finger on the 8th fret of the high E string. And that's it. So I'm going to show you a quick close-up of the C Locrian mode. Remember, the tab is in the description below, yeah? So we're going to start off with first finger on the 8th fret of the low E string, because that's the C note. And then continue with our second finger on the 9th fret of the low E string. Pinky on the 11th fret of the low E string. Drop down a string but do the same shape. First finger on the 8th fret of the A string. Second finger on the 9th fret of the A string. Pinky on the 11th fret of the A string. Drop down a string, first finger on the 8th fret of the D string, and third finger on the 10th fret of the D string. That's your first octave. Octave. So just continuing from the last note of our first octave, the 10th fret of the D string, so that with your third finger. That's the C note that begins it. Pinky on the 11th fret of the D string. Drop down a string and do the same shape. First finger on the 8th fret of the G string. Third finger on the 10th fret of the G string. Pinky on the 11th fret of the G string. Drop down a string. Second finger, drop down a string. Second finger on the 9th fret of the B string. Pinky on the 11th fret of the B string. And first finger on the 8th fret of the high E string. And that's the second octave. And to show you both together. Just to wrap everything up, yeah? So just like in the other videos, this one sort of modal shape or pattern that I've showed you, you can actually use it to play any Locrian mode there is. The only reason why it was a C Locrian mode is because we started on the 8th fret of the low E string, on the C note. If we started on another note, say the A note on the 5th fret for example, we would get the A Locrian mode. That's all there is to it. It all just corresponds with what note that you choose to begin with. And once you've sort of learnt you know, the sound and you've got the theory and you understand what notes you're actually playing, try and play little 1 octave patterns all over the neck. You don't have to play you know, a C Locrian mode just there on the 8th fret of the E string. Take that same pattern and maybe try and play it somewhere else. See if you have to change things, maybe it'll stay the same. So find some more C's and try and build more Locrian modes that way, or choose another note. Just keep trying to think of the theory behind it all in tones and semitones, and play it in different positions. So once you've learnt that one position, that's great, and it's great if you realize that you've got all the Locrian modes now. But try and learn them in little octave patterns all around the neck, and try and work out what feels most comfortable for you. Alright, I'll see you guys soon.